Hello, I am Asha Wheeldon. I am the founder and CEO of Kula Foods. We are a B Corp company that essentially turns plants into meat alternatives. So we have alternatives for goat, chicken, and beef. Ultimately, our focus is bringing more Afro-Caribbean flavors to the market in grocery aisles. Currently, we're in national markets in Canada and US, and our goal is to export globally, including Africa. Kula Foods is quite unique because we are bringing flavors that is not necessarily available in the mass market, specifically African and Caribbean flavors. And if we were even going to bring it further, East African flavors, Trinidadian flavors, Jamaican and Bayesian cuisine is not necessarily as readily available in food spaces in North America. So we really want to really open that space up, take up more space around category. The other uniqueness with our brand is we offer plant-based options. So this is still a growing industry and options, and so we are sort of like disrupting the process by also incorporating food of African diaspora. And then finally, it's the nutrition value. So we're very careful in selecting what goes into the food with low sodium, no sugar added in. We're ultimately giving a full round options to our larger communities. It was very important for us to explore exporting and working in the African market because the inspiration of the brand itself is, pulling into African culture. So it is ultimately the goal, and it absolutely made a sense and alignment for us. I think with the uniqueness of the brand, while we have a great opportunity in North America, I think there's even a bigger opportunity working within the continent of Africa. There's so much diversity as well that we could pull in to what we're offering. And I think the brand itself will be well received with the kinds of foods that we are providing. And so just from this exploration, it's really validated the need for more nutritional offerings that is also accessible, but it resonates with some of the people that are in spaces like in South Africa and Kenya. So it was actually critical for us to explore this market. When I joined the trade mission, I had some questions that I needed to answer. Is there a market? So that's number one. And then I wanted to see how folks are shopping, where they're shopping. And I was really inspired and also validated to see that there are no sugar added options when it comes to the sauces, spices, seasoning. I can see there is resemblance to some of the offerings we have, but then there's some blank spaces that we can fill. So understanding what the market is and being in person allowed for that, something that I could not just research online. I really needed to experience it. And I think what really helped for us is being able to work with the trade commissioners, having one-on-one meetings to ask the questions, to get the answers needed. Sort of was a great place to start, and then we were able to dive into down to talking to another person of African diaspora that started a business. So answers were really provided by that hands-on approach, and then again physically being able to go in. It is a relational space. The culture is very relational, so being able to just sit down, have a conversation and relate has been very, very helpful. And then beyond that is looking at, how do we build network for the next mission and how do we go forward. And so I think those network connections has allowed us to even expedite the process. I absolutely did not expect to get as far as we did. So it wasn't just research component, but it was action forward. And that's effective if we're in another country. I absolutely recommend anyone running an operation from tech, food, and more to really be looking at Africa. I think it's often, an area that is overlooked, but there's so much richness. And what we often, see portrayed in stories is like the lack thereof. But what I took away was actually how advanced Africa is. And specifically looking at South Africa, there's a lot of space there. It actually solves some of our biggest challenges around pricing. So if you're a person of African diaspora, this is a really good time to explore, because you are going to meet, your future customers here. Actually, like, one thing I did find is I didn't have to over-explain what we're doing. It was really down to like, here's what we do. We turn plants into meat. And then, as soon as you start hearing Afro-Caribbean, there was such a relation there. And that's one thing I have seen as a differentiator in when we introduced our foods into the North American market. So you can open a wide door. And I think there's also there's not as much barrier, especially because it is also an English-speaking country, South Africa specifically. You have the opportunity to connect, and there are folks that are willing to help you. And again, the barriers are lower. You can actually start the process sooner. So definitely recommend, again, anyone that is of African diaspora and larger, to really partner and look at the specific countries that would be best aligned. To share a lot of gratitude to BBABC. They have been very supportive, within the Canadian market in supporting our growth. I think it's such an organic format where we were given that opportunity in looking at exporting in South Africa. What I loved is, it started with research before we even got to South Africa. BBABC had scheduled meetings, done some thorough research to understand the landscape. So we felt quite prepared already. And then it was just it wasn't just, facilitated, we were all collaborative. It was a collaborative approach by going to the meetings together, exploring, even learnings, right? So I'm really grateful for that. I haven't seen anything like this. I think the powerful approach of Black-owned businesses being able to go to Africa and learn and see where the opportunities are. Every single business got a lot out of it, and I know Kula has absolutely walked away with potential partnerships, which can take years. So this actually expedited our process, and so I think I'm really excited, because the conversation now is how do we move forward, and not just what did we learn? How do we take this, move forward, and really take this to the next level? So I'm really excited. Just from some of the meetings that they have facilitated and supported us through, we have concrete conversations for 2025. So I'm really excited for that next step. But yeah, I think I can honestly say this would not be possible if it was not managed and supported by BBABC. Thank you.